To the Point is next, right here in Classic 105.5 and 105.9. Well, a wonderful good morning to you, Grenada, Caribbean, Mountain, the rest of the Eastern Caribbean, to you wherever you are. It's a glorious Monday morning. It is the fourth day of the month of July, and the year is heading along quite speedily. The month, no difference. I'm not sure what or whether race is towards, but certainly time waits on no one. In case you didn't quite figure it out, that's not just an expression, it's the absolute truth. Good morning to you, Grenada, Caribbean, Martinique, the rest of the Eastern Caribbean, to you wherever you are. It is Monday, it's the fourth day of the month of April, of July, and indeed we give God thanks and praise for us being here in the land of the living, and welcome to another episode of To the Point. Indeed, I'm Joseph Cadore, and I say thanks for being part of today's conversation. A warm and wonderful good morning to those of you joining us on television, GBN Channel 7, Channel 11, and Channel 20 if you are in cable, and those of you joining us via our radio feed, Classic 105.5, 105.9 on the FM band. We say thanks for being part of the conversation, and a warm, wonderful good morning to those of you that's on social media and other platforms. This morning, we offer you the opportunity of an open line. So many things that to discuss. So much has evolved and transpired in the last couple of hours, weeks, days, as it is. Certainly, we've had the swearing in of our Prime Minister. We've had the swearing in of the Cabinet Ministers. Today, there's there should be, assumed by all indications, the swearing in of the opposition leader, and certainly today, they're holding the first cabinet meeting as a government, and so much that we can discuss. So much has transpired as we continue our forward progress as a nation. Coming off the heels of elections, there might still be some sore moments, and I continue to say it doesn't matter what transpired or translated itself on June the 23rd is in fact indicative of the fact that our democracy is alive and well. We may not always agree with the outcome, but certainly what we have to do is to learn to appreciate the way forward. Yes, and there's nothing that we can do about it now. The one reality that there is that we have a new government, a new administration, but certainly the progress, the work towards becoming self-reliant as a people, forging ahead, and certainly that continues. I think where the conversation needs to start is that each and every one of us, before we look at what government has to do holistically, we first must ask ourselves the question that which we must do in our individual lives to ensure that we become better citizens of this little piece of rock that's called Grenada. 6 minutes gone past the hour. We take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back right here on To the Point for today, Monday. They are the few, the strong, the elite. Grenada, get ready as our sporting gladiators go for gold and glory at the World Championships. Follow every throw, stride, and jump from July 15th to the 24th. Capture the action daily on GBN television. It's the World Championships. The dream continues.
James is going to win it.
Mr. mentioned the wing high, then you have things like man, you must come back, We have the low power there.
It is kind of like the same man, and it's just different name for the same kind of thing.
And last but not least, I just want to say to all the men who saw me, call me, and ask for a piece of cake. I'm baking this weekend.
Join us Fridays at 8 on GBN Television, K105 FM, GBN's Facebook page, and YouTube channel for We Culture.
No, that's not how you cross the pedestrian crossing.
Really? One day I just woke up and I saw pedestrian crosswalks on the road. No one really showed me how to use them properly.
Well, this is how it's done. You never cross before doing these things. They might save your life. First, when you get to the crosswalk, you stop. You look left, you look right. If there's a vehicle coming, you put your hand out, making eye contact with the driver, indicating that you want to cross. And And only when the vehicle comes to a complete stop, you quickly cross to the other side.
Stop, look, hand out, eye contact. Wait for pedestrian to cross to the other side, then you happily continue on your journey. This message is brought to you by this group of insurance companies, the Traffic Advisory Body, and the Traffic Department.
Thank you. Welcome back to the program. It's To The Point for today, the fourth day, of the month of July. Indeed, we say thanks for being part of this morning's conversation. We're looking ahead, and certainly for those of you just joining us, we're affording you an open line this morning. The number on the inside, 435-2041. I want us to keep our thoughts as positive as it could possibly be. We've had the swearing in of the new cabinet, the opposition leader, the Right Honourable Dr. Keith Mitchell. He will be sworn in today as the opposition leader, and certainly, but we want to look at just give me your thoughts. So your thoughts on, I think as we look at the election process, the electoral process, there's so many things that I'm hoping that we've learned from the process. Looking at the composition, any surprises, anything in there that you probably think, I didn't see this coming, or certainly you're thinking, wow, quite interesting. We're going to go to the telephone lines right away. Good morning, caller. Are you alive?
Good morning, Joe. Welcome back.
Well, thank you.
I wondered what's wrong with you. I wasn't hearing you. I hope you on vacation that you did enjoy.
I was just recouping.
Before we think of what government and so should do, we should first think of what I can do or what we can do to make Grenada a better place. What should I say? Mm-hmm. Well, my advice is that we all seek to know God in a deeper way, get more intimate and personal with God, allow the Lord Jesus Christ to control our lives so we can have a better vision of not man's will, but God's will for the nation. We all will die one day, and we have to face the God who created us. The people of the world, especially those in high places like the elites and the this and that, they think as though the world is theirs, and they want to determine how much people must be in the world, what people should eat, what they should do. We all belong to God, whether they know it, believe it or not. We belong to God. And as a small island nation, we need to seek the face of God. For what just happened in Grenada with this election was not man. That was God's intervention to save and deliver Grenada from the end of that precipice we were about to fall into. And He has saved us, He has delivered us, and He's given us another chance. He's asking us to repent and come closer to Him so He can continue to walk with us and make us the nation that we ought to be. God bless you, Joe, and God bless Grenada.
Thank you very much. Have yourself a blessed day. 435-2041, that is the number on the inside. And certainly, it doesn't matter what your religious background is. There's no argument over the need that each and every one of us, we need to have that spiritual awakening within us. Certainly, whatever, or we need Him as part of as our moral compass. So much that we speak about our constitution, our way of life, is hinged on the Bible, but very often we seem to make it second place as part of that conversation. And I'm agreeing with you. One of the things that we first need to do as a nation, as an individual. Because, yes, government is there to provide the infrastructure for the private sector and the enabling environment that allows us to thrive as a nation. But I think very often the challenge that, as individuals, we do not sit and ask ourselves those hardcore questions. What is it does Joseph Cadore want? What do I want? What does Janelle McDonald want? What does Odette Campbell want? What does Don Bailey want? What does the GBN want? And if each and every one of us can start fashioning that question in our minds as to what is it that I want, and how does what I want fit into the bigger picture. I may want something. How do I get it? How do I achieve that goal in the context of national development, my own personal wants and my own personal desires? How does that fit into the bigger picture? And certainly, I think that's where the conversation should be. 435-2041, that is the number on the inside. We're just going to take a look in just a bit at the composition of the cabinet, and certainly they're hosting. If you are not aware that the Prime Minister, he's actually out of state right now, and he's attending the 43rd session of CARICOM heads that's been held in Suriname. And certainly, I know a lot of folks took the opportunity yesterday, and it was really quite refreshing to see a lot of Grenadians actually on the live. And it's just a vibe and an energy that I hope that we continue to rally, not just this particular administration, but all administrations to come. And good morning, caller. You are live. 13 past the hour of 9.
Good morning, JC. Are you hearing me?
I'm hearing you a bit distorted, but yes, I can.
All right, maybe something wrong on my end. Let me cut it off.
435-2041, that is the number on the inside. We say good morning to those of you that is out there in the diaspora as well. Reminding you that you too can be part of the conversation. You can submit your questions, queries, comments via the WhatsApp portal 435-2041, or you can do the same via the Facebook page, GBN. That's on the Grenada Broadcasting Network. You can feel free to do that. 435-2041. Reminding you folks, I know there's a lot that got lost. Carnival, schools, children, of course, that's transitioning from primary school into secondary school. That's part of the conversation as well. But I go back to the telephone lines. Good morning, caller. You're live. Hello, caller. Good morning.
Hello?
Yes, caller, good morning. You're live.
Oh, you're hearing me?
Loud and clear.
Oh, thank you. Like to just to give me a little permission to tell a little something, please.
When you say a little something, we're on to the point.
Oh, what I wanted to know, I'm some tops and so I have to sell. But what I'm saying, the size is large.
Ma'am, you realize that you're live on television, right?
Hello?
You realize that you're speaking to me live on television?
If I realize what?
I think I'm not sure if this is the platform that you actually need. If you're looking to do some advertising, you can call 440-3033, and someone they would transfer you, and they would attend you. But this is a live call-in program.
Uh-huh.
Okay, thank you, caller. She says, 435-2041. That's the number that is on the inside. So, in case you missed it in the midst of the euphoria and everything else, you missed the constitution of the makeup of the new cabinet of ministers. I'll give it to you in a while, but we go to the telephone lines. Good morning, caller. You are live.
Morning, Joseph.
Good morning to you.
And welcome back.
Well, thank you, sir.
Anyway, I was so pleased, as I said earlier, with the presence of our new Prime Minister in Suriname. And he really given a good account of himself. Then we can only feel elated that once again we should be respected as a nation. I joined the program late, not at the beginning, and I think I overheard the conversation saying along the line of what can we do,
yes,
in terms of helping to make Grenada better. I think one of the first things I would say is that everybody who is literate, can understand, should become familiar with the Constitution of Grenada. And particularly the people in Parliament now, all of them, all the public servants should become au fait with the Constitution. Because if we really, in spite of the deficiency and the archaic, the colonial, whatever in it, there are ingredients within the Constitution that could make us accountable and responsible if we adhere to the various provisions. And so I think the first order of the day would be to know the Constitution.
Right.
So that we can understand the functioning of government and our relationship with government, our relationship as citizens to one another. Right. So that in the end, we will ease a lot of the tension, a lot of the confusion that happened. You know, I was embarrassed when somebody issued a list of possible people and the new government, and they had at the hem Honorable Tillman Thomas as the new Governor General. To me, this is absurd. If you understand how government working with, I mean, nobody will be circulating that. Anyway, I would end here by saying we also must become readers, because readers are leaders and leaders are readers. We are not a reading people. We have to learn to read, and who cannot read should make effort to learn to read, and those who can read should help those who can't read, and also to understand more difficult issues. Okay. Not that we would act as if we are superior, but that we would act as each other's brothers or sisters. Thank you, Joseph. Have a good day.
Thank you very much, caller. 435-2041, that is the number on the inside. I think, if you ask me, I think one of the things I would particularly like to see is that there be a refocusing on that qualification for becoming a politician. I think it's becoming, there seems to be this open sepulchre where each and every one, because of course that's the way our parliamentary systems is actually set up, where everybody wakes up on Monday morning and they determine, you know what, I have formed a political organization, and now I've become a politician, and as such they determine that they deserve the respect that all other politicians they deserve. Just for what purpose? God alone knows. But we go back to the telephone lines. Good morning. What can we do? What's the way forward as Grenadians? Caller, you alive?
Definitely phone cut off.
Caller, you alive? Caller, you alive?
Good morning, Uncle Joe.
Good morning to you.
Welcome back.
Well,
I miss you so much, but the other guy was doing a good job, you know.
Well, I wasn't expecting anything less.
But you know, I still miss you.
Well, thank you.
All right. So one thing I want to make 2 points, if I remember the second one. Mm-hmm. One, I'm calling on the Minister of Labor, the Honorable Claudette Joseph, when she make the time, and I know they're so busy now, to take a look at the Labor Department regarding, there is so many claims inside there. Yeah, for instance, I have a claim there with the Labor Minister over a year, close to a year now, and it's still pending. And every time you call them in a meeting, they're busy and so on. So I'm asking her, please, at her convenience, to investigate that department, because a lot of poor people, we are just pending. Right. And this guy there, what's his name, Mr. Griffith, time to go. Well, I am saying it. And,
hold on, ma'am. And as much as I appreciate your concern, I don't want us to start spoiling the conversation.
No, we're not spoiling it.
How do you come up with those?
Because I can tell you, the people, the less fortunate people, the poor people, the workers, the employers is taking lots of advantage, abuse on the employees. And when you take it to the Labor Department, you're on hold. You can't find you. This matter is out of my hand. We can't deal with this. And we're waiting for years.
But what I would agree with you, though, I don't think that some of the challenges we have within our various ministries is limited to an individual. I think it's probably a number of different elements that's not working. And I do agree that there need to be checks and balances, not necessarily in removing an individual.
No, this one have to go.
Well, that's a different conversation.
This is my point. You don't ask me, but I am telling you, and I'm telling the minister, and she will look into it, and she will figure it out herself. He has to go.
Well, I don't think
that's the first point.
But I don't think it's in the minister's place to just come off the bat.
Well, anyway, we're putting it out there
that civil servants they have to go.
putting it out there that we dissatisfied about his performance with our poor people for years. And you know what? I do not understand this. He has been there from ages with all different governments that come. He's still there. So I don't know, but all our Father have an amen. But the second point I want to make is I'm calling on the past education minister. Well, no. I'm calling on Emmeline Pierre to make an open apology to the TAMCC lecturers when she. Now, if she have the facts, bring it out. And so far, she doesn't have the facts. So I am calling on her to make an open apology to the lecturers at the TAMCC for saying that there was some bribery that the lecturers would give higher grades if the students come out on the picket line or something like that. And I mean, imagine what somebody will do to get into power. I mean, if her children was there, I wonder if she would have liked for this to brand her student, her children for exam, maybe years going down the road. You never know. So I want her to come and be an adult and make an open apology. Because look at the day after election, I am so disappointed with Emmeline Pierre for coming and carrying on the way. And you know what, Mr. Joseph? They are saying the young people, they have no this and they can't do. But look at the old people, how they carrying themselves. Emmeline Pierre, if the other people was young, well, they are old. Look at how they carrying on themselves. I'm very disappointed. Shame on you, Emmeline Pierre.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
435-2041, that is the number to get in on the inside. I did say that I would share with you the composition of the cabinet ministers in case for some reason you got lost in the euphoria of everything that has transpired in the last couple of days. But we go back to the telephone line, 26 minutes gone past the hour. What can we do as part of the Forward Progress, caller?
Hello, good morning.
Good morning to you, caller.
I just want to make one point.
Certainly, go ahead.
I've understand that you have to pay for school fees for the children to go to school. And I find it's rather ridiculous because since 1979, when they had the revolution in Grenada, Maurice Bishop had make it free, that he had made it clear that Grenadians' education should be free in Grenada. So who put that price back for people to pay for education in secondary school? I would like to know. This is ridiculous. I have a friend. She's a poor girl. She is struggling. Her son just passed common entrance, and she's telling me she has to pay $310 plus buy books, plus buy his school clothes. How is she going to get that child to go to school? She works no place. This is ridiculous. Education in Grenada should be free. You should not have to pay a secondary school fee. That should never be. Maurice Bishop had already made it clear that education should be free. Why are these people putting the school fee on?
Okay.
They are thieves.
Well, that's
whoever do that. They are.
And here's a consolation to the issue that you're raising. And I know it's an issue that has been there. It's not something that just happened overnight. It has been allowed to transgress for a number of years. But I can tell you though that the Prime Minister Deacon Mitchell has indicated that issue would be addressed. It was part of one of the issues that was raised in the campaign. It was again raised in his capacity as Prime Minister that he would honor it. So certainly let's hope and look for the transitionary period whereby, but certainly on the flip side of that though, I think sometimes you can understand why schools they need to find ways and means in order to raise revenue, caller, just the same. So there is a that's a double-edged sword that we're looking at, because one of the challenge that a lot of schools would say to you that there's a lot of things that schools need, and it does not come from the central. It's not received from the central government. So as such, they need to find ways to raise funds to, whether it's a chalkboard, different basic items for the running of the school. So it's not just a matter of just removing it. And I know it is a weight. It is a weight or a burden on many Grenadians, and certainly, but the government has given its commitment to addressing those concerns. So time will tell as to where we go with that. We go back to the telephone lines. Good morning, caller. 29 past the hour of 9.
Yes, good morning, Joe. How are you?
I'm wonderful, thank you.
All right. What is the subject matter this morning?
It's an open line, but we want to focus on what can we do. Now that we have a new administration in office, the question is, what can we do as individuals? What part can we play as part of the forward progress?
Oh, I see. All right. Well, the part I could play is to ask the government to create an enabling environment that I could able to be applicable within the skills and other things it would put there for us to thrive on. Like entrepreneurs, we should have an enabling environment to get money and invest and know that we're doing it because our business is going to be successful in the proceedings. In the time of the past government, we were scared. I have lost. I was abused as an entrepreneur. My business went down. In fact, I should say that Capital Bank issue was a deficit to me, my business and my life under the past government. So I am hoping that the government create the enabling environment and sit with us, as we say, talk with us and show us the way and encourage us so we could help the economy as an inclusive part. So far, I want to say the next thing here. I worked for people before, and that was the most abusive time with some of those private enterprise. I didn't call a name, but they were also linked to the government. And when I was abused there, and I go for redress to the Ministry of Labor, I didn't get, I had to handle it myself. Right now there is a matter outstanding. Years I leave employment, and the Labor Commissioner present didn't address it. I lost my money. A lot of wrong things happening. I would like the Labor Commissioner, in fact, I should say, I would like the government to remove the Labor Commissioner from his office. It is overdue, and cause the progress to continue nicely.
But allow me to ask this question, sir, because I don't want us to just encourage the culture where we just assume that somebody has to leave office for whatever wantonly. And you making that assertion, you making that request on what basis?
Because why? He's not giving the employees, when they have a query with the employer.
Right.
Yes. He's not addressing it to give them what is due unto them. As I tell you, I as a person, and I know many others, I as a person make a request to the labor to look into certain thing and they deny it. Up to today, it's still outstanding. My monies are involved. I lost it. I make years with the company, and it gives the employer right over me by not attending to the subject matter.
Okay. Thank you.
So, and he did many other people that. People go call on you, go no, they go tell you.
Thank you very much then, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We continue. Is an open line forum this morning just to take some comments that's coming via social media. Thank you. Marquez, he says reminding us that today the opposition would be sworn in, and I would like to see that Tessa Sincere be replaced to replace Chester Humphrey as Speaker. Also, that Dr. Keith Mitchell to keep him in check when he wants to get out of order. I'm not even we are certain that is going to happen. But some other comments coming via the portal. I empathize with some parents. However, some of them are the ones that voted out the free school books program in favor of vouchers. As the former education minister, what was the budget for schools? Quite interesting. 435-2041. That is the number that is on the inside. I did promise to share with you the composition of the new cabinet, in case you missed it. So they were sworn in last week. The Honorable Dickon Mitchell as Prime Minister and Minister of Finance and Minister of National Security, Home Affairs, Public Administration, Information and Disaster Management. Honorable Joseph Andel, he serves in the capacity as Minister for Foreign Affairs, Trade and Export Development. Honorable Lennox John Andrews, he is the Minister of Economic Development, Planning, Tourism, ICT, Creative Economy, Agriculture and Lands, Fisheries and Cooperatives. We go to the telephone lines to engage a caller. 25 minutes on the door of 10 o'clock. Good morning, caller.
Morning, Joseph.
Good morning to you.
Yeah, Joseph, this morning I heard myself saying the new Prime Minister addressing the country is Pity Martinique, Carriacou and Grenada. But he do his thing his way, and that is the right thing he has to do. And that is what he had to do. So when you hear people complaining and condemning, they must get the facts straight. Everybody had a thing to do differently, and he do it the right way, and I like how he do it. And this one, I'm talking about money people have to pay in school. I remember when my sister was going to school for the first time in college. Every 3 months they had to pay a fee. So why now people complaining? Well, she used to pay. People used to pay the fee in Magdalene College School and other school. They had to pay every 3 months. They had to pay something. So when people talking, some of them, they want to just bring down the government and say all kind of wrong things.
Well, I don't think it's about bringing down the government, but you would agree, though, and you could understand that as time has progressed, when I went to GBS, the only thing I actually paid for was my report card, which was $25.
I remember my mother used to pay for my document.
So that's all I paid for. You just went to school. I purchased my school time, and that was it. But over the years, and as I said, it has become a part of the culture, and many schools, teachers will tell you, teachers did not just sit and decide, let's just start charging, but they would tell you, because some of them would make the argument that because of the failure of the central government to provide schools very, very often with the necessary tools that they need to run the school on a daily basis. But I think what has happened in more recent times, I mean, the burden has grown, has become heavier.
Because you see, the thing is, some of those children and them, they just throw those things on them, they spoiling it, and when you see the schoolmaster talk about it, the parents does not really stand up with the children. Because they do a lot of wrong thing. I didn't go to secondary school, but I know the rules of it.
Right.
And children used to, yes, they had to pay for the tie and they had to pay for something.
Everything comes at a cost.
But the thing about it is the parents had to do something, they had to pay.
Everything comes at a cost.
That's right.
Thank you, the caller. And there's a very valid point that the caller just made, that as parents, we need to encourage our children. You can't just wantonly go to school. You want a proper desk for your child, a proper chair, and then your child decides, you know what, I'm going to sit back, rock on the chair, and sing "Que sera, sera," whatever would be, and you expect it. You expect this, you expect that, you expect good conditions, a good environment. It has to come from somewhere. We're going to go back to the telephone lines. Classic, good morning, you're live.
Hi, good morning, Joe. How are you?
Wonderful as always, thank you.
I want to speak about child maintenance. I would like the government to have somebody appoint to that section to follow up with the fees. Our men want to go all over the place and make children and degrade our women. Sometimes you have a man owing the court over $3,000 for maintenance. That is a shame. If the man don't have a job, have estate to put them on mine sheep, mine goat, mine cow, so the children go get a little meat in the meanwhile to give them some protein. And if they have a job, you shouldn't let them go and pay that money because they're not paying it. You talk to the boss and you deduct that money from the salary to maintain the children.
But
everybody must hold on to the responsibility.
But let me ask though, you said you want the government to do that?
Well, you see, they have to pay the money in the court. And they're not paying, so the fee going up to $3,000. So they should have somebody to follow up. When the fee reach about $200, you call on them.
I've always found it shameful, though, and be honest with you, totally shameful, that you would even go, that anybody should take put their partner to the court for them to pay $300. Because $300 is not even a tip of the iceberg. I mean, $300. I mean, I think the state have more important things to do. I think what needs to happen. There needs to be a refocusing. There needs to be a reshifting of the way we think. I think the challenge that we live in a society where we trivialize the issue of sex, men, and our responsibility to our families, our children.
I agree with
that conversation needs to start. That's where it needs to start. That a man needs to understand. You don't just go around sowing wild oats, as they say. Having a child is not a rites of passage that makes you a man.
Yeah.
When you make a decision to have a child, then there's responsibilities that come with it. And I think conversations should go both ways.
Yes, I agree with you. I was coming to the women now.
Where women must respect themselves more, and you don't just allow what?
That's right, and they must have a session with them too, to talk to them, educate them to know if they could maintain a child, then they go for it if you can maintain it. Because it does be so shameful, sometimes less than $300 for a child.
$300 a month. Could you imagine that? And that's even where the problem comes in. Because the court systems, I mean, I don't know how a court system would actually ask a person to pay $300. I mean, what is $300 buying for a child? Doing for a child?
I see that. The poor child didn't ask the father, neither the mother, to come in the world. And you don't bring the children in the world to suffer like that.
But that takes a larger conversation. It takes the church, NGOs, schools, collectively, each and every one of us collectively to address that issue. But I do.
But they have to. But I would like them to address the court too, because the court know that person the child maintenance, and if they let it come up to $3,000, not a call to them.
Okay.
If the mother don't go back in the court and say she ain't getting money, nothing done.
That's quite an interesting conversation there. Thanks a lot, caller.
Okay, my brother.
Okay. 435-2041, that's the number on the inside. We take a quick commercial break, though, 19 minutes onto the hour of 10 o'clock. Take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back right here on To The Point. They are the few, the strong, the elite. Grenada, get ready as our sporting gladiators go for gold and glory at the World Championships. Follow every throw, stride, and jump from July 15th to the 24th. Capture the action daily on GBN television. It's the World Championships. The dream continues.
James is going to win it.
Mr. mentioned the wing kai, then you have things like man, you must come back, you know. We have the low forward.
It is kind of like the same man, and it's just different name for the same kind of thing.
And last but not least, I just want to say to all the men, he saw me, called me, and asked for a piece of cake. I'm baking this weekend.
Join us Fridays at 8 on GBN Television, K105 FM, GBN's Facebook page, and YouTube channel for We Culture.
Welcome back to the program. 17 minutes on to the hour of 10 o'clock in the morning time. It's an open line, and certainly we're just giving you an opportunity this morning to share as you look forward, as we continue our growth as a nation. What can we do individually first to be part of that conversation? Good morning, caller. You're alive.
Good morning, sir. How are you doing?
Wonderful as always. Go ahead.
And good morning to the listening and viewing audience on Facebook. I want to comment a bit on the different portfolios of ministries.
Sure.
And also pointed to the different ministers, MP, and senators. Mr. Your name is Joseph Cadore.
Yes, I am.
Okay. Do you heard anything was mentioned about agriculture and tourism?
In terms of
ministries.
Ministry? Oh, yes. Yes, that agriculture and tourism actually falls under, that's
economic.
Lennox John Andrews. So he's the Minister of Economic Development, Planning, Tourism, ICT, Creative Economy, Agriculture and Lands.
Right. So I'm mentioning that to say, knowing the importance of that two sectors, which is agriculture and tourism, I think that these two sectors, a portfolio, should stand on their own and should have a full-fledged minister. You don't think so?
Well,
you don't think so?
Well, I understand. I could reasonably see what you're saying, but I think the issue has not, if you ask me, has less to do with whether or not there's an individual minister assigned to it, and whether or not there are policies in place that allows for. Because if, for instance, you could appreciate, while there is that ministry falls under his portfolio, there's also a ministry of mobilization. The Ministry of Mobilization and Implementation and Transformation, which would be the ministry that would guide all of these policies and plans that is in there. So somebody's in charge of it. But I think more often the question has to do with policies and whether or not those policies are implemented and their structures in place. That's what I would be waiting to see.
Because, for instance, with agriculture under the Economic Development and Planning, which Lennox Andrews running, I see they put Adrian Thomas, which is the Senator, Minister of State, with responsibility for agriculture as a senator. They put him there. But I think that these two sectors, which are key to economic and sustainable development here, is bringing the most money to the GDP. I think they should have full-fledged ministers running those two ministries. Again, I see them move religious affairs and put it with they put it somewhere else. They put it with health and wellness.
Right. And so Ministry of Health, Wellness and Religious Affairs.
Yeah, I think that should stay with education, with the school system.
Okay.
There's a lot of things. The Foreign Affairs and Trade and Export Development Ministers, that's a good choice. Claudette Joseph was a very good choice also. Yeah.
Right.
The guy in Karikou, that's a good choice. I think also, I'm just commenting, people may not like what I'm saying, but I'm just giving my views. I'm not criticizing.
That's okay.
Yeah?
That's okay.
Yeah. I think the young lady they put in the young lady they put there, Kirin, they put her in climate, resilience, environment, and energy.
Right. Yes.
She have a bachelor degree in psychology. So I thought they would have put her in social community development, housing, and gender with that lady. It's very good. Gloria is good where they have her there as a senator there. But I think that Philip Telesford is an accountant. And I don't think that area suits him much. You know?
Well, as you could well appreciate that when you look at some of the individuals and their background, but remember when you get into government, it's a learning process. You're learning on the job.
So you have to start somewhere.
It has to start somewhere, but keep in mind also that within each of these ministries, it's not just the ministers that's running. The ministers don't run those ministries.
I saw they have advisors.
They have advisors, they have PSs, they are technocrats within those ministries. The minister sits at the helm in terms of somebody that takes responsibility. So let's hope that the individuals within those technocrats, those specialists within those ministries, you were able to get the best out of them, so at least we can get some forward progress.
Yeah, and last thing, I was still on last thing. I think finance, the Prime Minister had taken that portfolio, and the advisor there is Richard Duncan. I think it's a good move. But being Prime Minister, you need to overlook things and know what is going on in the start. But I also think that this should go to Lennox Andrews, who is in economic development and planning. He's been there wrong. He's been a PS before.
Right.
I think he would have done. But maybe as it is the first time you want to see how things going financially, then it might pass it on.
But and I agree, you can well appreciate that the position that one is given now isn't given for life. Yeah. So you may just see a year from now, as the administration transitions itself, that there may just be some tweaking, and so let's look forward. But thanks for your observations.
Have a blessed day, sir.
All the best to you. 10 minutes onto the hour of 10 o'clock in the morning time. We continue to go through the list. So you have the Honorable Dennis Cornwall. He is the Minister for Infrastructure and Physical Development, Public Utilities, Civil Aviation and Transportation. We go back to the telephone lines. 10 minutes on. We've lost that caller. Tevin Campbell, Minister for Carriacou and Petite Martinique Affairs and Local Government. The Honorable Philip Alfred Telesford, the Minister for Social and Community Development, Housing and Gender Affairs. We go back to the telephone lines. Good morning, caller. You're live.
Hi. Good morning, Joe.
Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning. Just a couple of observations. Well, I'm not going through all the ministries and so, but we have to, as you've made the point, that the ministries are not run by the ministers. There are technocrats and there are administrators who run the ministries. Over the last few years, we've seen a case where some of the ministers are micromanaging these ministries, but that's not how it was meant to be. So, especially some of the ministries, someone spoke about tourism. What is there in tourism for a minister to do? Tourism is basically run by the Tourism Authority and the Hotel and Tourism Association, which is basically a private sector activity. That's what tourism is.
Right.
It's not a government activity. It's not much to do with policy. The few policy matters and so, and probably in terms of probably the training and other things can be handled by a ministry. But the ministry's work in tourism is minuscule.
Right.
Most of what happens there is private sector activities by the authority, tourism authorities, and the Hotel and Tourism Association. So that could be a very small ministry. In terms of, again, we have to be careful about building silos. Someone spoke about agriculture being mixed with other things. Yeah, that's what we have to do, because agriculture doesn't stand on its own. It has to contribute towards economic development and all the other things. And if we have little ministries, 20 ministries operating as little silos, and we don't have the connection between all the other economic activities, we're going to fail.
Right.
So I think the alignment is good. They may change them as time goes by. They may even change the personnel or the ministers there. But I think that, first of all, we can only have so many ministries and ministers for a small country with a population of just over 100,000. And we have to realize what those ministers are supposed to do. And in many cases, not an awful lot apart from policy making.
Indeed. Thank you, caller.
That's all I have to say for now. Yeah,
thank you. 435-2041, that's the number to get in on the inside. It is 8 minutes on to the hour in the morning time. We go back to the telephone lines. Good morning, caller. You're live.
Yes, Mr. Cadore. Sorry for having to come back. Concerning the ministers and the portfolios and different things, the only thing I think Mr. Lennox John Andrews has too much on his hand. I understand what your last caller just said, but I think that particular person has too many ministries on his hand, and now he's acting prime minister. Prime minister is not in the country. So I think he has too much, and somebody mentioned the leading wall. I understand that originally she was going to be Minister of Sport, Youth and Sports because of she's young and whatever, but I don't know what happened, but that was a suggestion earlier, but then it didn't transpire like that.
That was a suggestion from whom?
There was a suggestion before they finalized this.
But that was just John Public.
Yes, of course. That's what I'm saying. This is what they suggested. But that doesn't have to be because they suggest that. She might only have a degree in psychology, but that's not all. That's what she mastered in for now. But she's only 24. She's growing, and I'm sure she wouldn't stop there. That she would develop herself. She'll go for her master's. She might go for her doctorate. You never tell.
Give her a break. Keep in mind that while an individual, they may major in a particular field, they do minors, they do other electives. So the other things that they are skilled at. So she might have majored in a particular area, but trust me, to have gotten that degree, there's a lot. It's encompassing.
People think when you go and do a degree, you just take. Okay, you go and do a degree in psychology, so only psychology you deal with. No.
Administration,
you do a lot of
different things.
A lot of different things. Then people just say you major in that. That is your major course, but you don't sit down and do a course with only psychological things. You have other things. I have a BSc in psychology, and I know that's not the only thing I have studied.
It's all encompassing. It is.
And that is why I said, at one time I said something, and your former co-worker didn't agree with me, that WHO, I found a lot of things, and I sent some emails to WHO, and because I sent some emails to them, they just blocked me from having an email afterwards. Because a lot of things we see these organizations and so doing and saying, a lot of them are not true. Or, if it is true according to them, it's godless. So when you challenge them with the truth, they deplatform you, or they check out your data, or they do something. Because after I did send some emails to WHO, I sent some to Ministry of Health. When I sent to Ministry of Health, it was having to do with the Wi-Fi and 5G. Wi-Fi is very dangerous, but people don't know it. And that's why I make them come and take out the Wi-Fi from my home, because they did not tell me that they were putting Wi-Fi. I had the internet before. They came and they changed it. They put the Wi-Fi, and I didn't know what Wi-Fi was. It's until I discovered the dangers. It was making me sick. It was having an effect on me. I made them come and take it out.
Okay.
Now then they had this 5G. The 5G is more dangerous than Wi-Fi. And you see, these people just putting things on population without telling them the dangers that they have to face and different things like that. So we
I
need
would say to you, that's one of the cost that comes with.
Yeah, but you see, when you're bringing in something like that affects human health, and the 5G don't only affect human health, it affects life.
Well, and I'm assuming as with everything else, we've built motor vehicles, and look at the impact it has had on us. And everybody's driving.
It's possible that you have an accident and die from it.
And everybody's driving. We drive. They build vehicles to go faster. We ask for them to widen the roads. We drive faster. It kills us. Life is about a balance.
I know, and that's why I always tell people, make sure you're safe. When you're safe, anything could happen, because all of us will die. So make sure you are saved, so if anything happens, you die, you know where you're going. God bless.
Thanks a lot, caller. It's about 4 minutes onto the hour in the morning time. That's about the last caller that we can entertain for the morning. But again, I'm just going to run through, if by chance you would have missed the allocation, the composition of the cabinet. I'll run through it from the top as we wrap this morning's program. The Honorable Dickon Mitchell, Prime Minister and Minister of Finance and Minister for National Security, Home Affairs, Public Administration, Information and Disaster Management. School children, write it down. You'll need to know it. We all have to remember that. The Honorable Joseph Andel, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Trade and Export Development. The Honorable Lennox John Andrews, the Minister of Economic Development, Planning, Tourism, ICT, Creative Economy, Agriculture and Lands, Fisheries and Cooperatives. The Honorable Dennis Cornwall, the Minister of Infrastructure and Physical Development, Public Utilities, Civil Aviation and Transportation. The Honorable Tevin Andrews, Minister of Carriacou and Petite Martinique Affairs and Local Government. The Honorable Philip Telesford, Minister of Social and Community Development, Housing and Gender Affairs. The Honorable Andy Williams, the Minister of Mobilization, Implementation and Transformation. Minister Karine James, the Minister of Climate Resilience and the Environment and Renewable Energy. Honorable Ron Redhead, Minister of State with responsibility for youth and sport within the Ministry of Education, Youth, Sports and Culture. The senatorial appointments and the associated ministries. Senator the Honorable Claudette Joseph, Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs, Labor and Consumer Affairs. Senator the Honorable Adrian Thomas, Minister for State with responsibility for agriculture and lands, fisheries and cooperatives. Honorable Senator the Honorable David Andrew, Minister of Education, Youth, Sport and Culture. Senator the Honorable Gayton Jonathan Lecret, Minister for Health, Wellness and Religious Affairs. And Senator the Honorable Gloria Ann Thomas, the Minister of State with responsibility for Social Development and Gender Affairs within the Ministry of Social and Community Development, Housing and Gender Affairs. The composition of the current administration. They are holding their first cabinet session today. The first post-cabinet briefing will be tomorrow at 10 o'clock. Folks, the campaigning is over. The election is all over. We say whether you agree or disagree, doesn't matter what's of the political divide, you find yourself. We will agree on many things, we'll disagree on many. But the one thing we will never disagree on, the fact that we are all Grenadians and we all have our parts to play in the development of this land. Until then, so long everybody, JC loves you. The man GT comes in to take you forward up until 12. You take care, have a great one, Grenada. All the best.